Good morning and welcome to That's My Farm. I'm Mikhayla DeMott, your guest host, and I am here in the beautiful home of Sheryl and Dick Johson. And stay tuned to hear from Dick and his two children, Ben and Elizabeth, and we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning and welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm here with Dick Johson. And first off, Dick, talk to me a little bit about the history of Green Garden Angus.
Well, the early history really dates back to 1884 when Harm Jansen bought the west half of Section 31 in Green Garden Township and moved his family of 10 children to the Green Garden community in Ellsworth County. And this is where he grew up farming. And in 1910, L.C. Jansen, who was my grandfather, bought out the rest of the children. He actually fed out cattle and drove them down to the UP stockyards in Lorain, and they shipped out a carload of fat cattle every year to Kansas City, and he would go into Kansas City and sell them. So we grew up with commercial Angus cows up until 1932, and my dad bought some registered Angus cows. So really the cattle have been in the family since the very beginning. We were a family farm with Angus cows, about 30 to 40 head of cows. Then in 1964, I graduated from Kansas State University. And I had spent a lot of time with Dr. Good, who was my judging team coach, and Miles McKee, who was at that time head of the beef barns at K-State. And they really got me, really got interested in the genetic side of breeding cattle. And I decided I wanted to be a seed stock producer. So I came back to the farm, and we needed to have a lot more volume than 30, 40 head of cows. And my brother got out of the Army at the same time, and we became partners, and we grew from that 30 head, and we rented ground for a long time. Then we split our partnership in 1970, I think. And I continued with this place here, and with the good fortune, I married Shelley Marie in 1974, and she made us spend less than we made.
That's the goal.
And with this 240, at that time, we moved from 50 head of cows, and today we run about 350 head of mother cows.
All right. Thank you, Dick. And we'll be back after these messages from our sponsors.
Of a farm. And for 25 years, Sure Crop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. Sure Crop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose Sure Crop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Tarwater Farm and Home has been family owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
And welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm here with Dick again. And talk to me a little bit more about your influences at K-State and how that kind of prompted you to do some of the things that you do today. And talk to me a little bit about your herd.
Yeah, well, I spent quite a lot of time on the judging teams at K-State. I was on the livestock team, the wool team, the meats team. I do just about any kind of judging thing to not go to class. So anyway, the time I spent with Dr. Good and Miles McKee really prompted me to want to be a seed stock producer in the beef business. I guess to start with, we chased all the popular bulls around the country like most people even do today. And in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, we were just all chasing growth and bigness. And the industry as a whole got into a calving problem of major proportions. And I left Shelley here at home when I was on the board of the American Angus Association to calve out heifers. They had an ice storm. I can't remember just exactly, but we had nothing but calving problems. So I came back from that meeting and we decided that we were going to use the technology today to produce genuine calving ease cattle. So at that time we had EBVs, which is estimated breed values, EBVs. And we did pretty well. We stacked pedigrees for calving ease. We bought cows. Actually, we bought cows from the Enbar Ranch in Montana, and they were basically Emulus 31 bred cattle, which was very, very calving ease. And so we brought those cattle in here, and then we bred our own, and we ended up with a fairly sizable herd. Today we run about 300 cows, 350 cows. Almost all of them are zero birth EPD cattle. Anyway, I got nominated to the board of the American Angus Association, and I was placed on the Certified Angus Beef Board. And Mick Colvin invited me down to Liberal, Kansas to National Beef, and to look at cattle that they were killing for the CAB program. Well, we looked at that set of cattle that day, and there was all the way from prime to standard in that set of cattle. And so on the way back, Mick and I were talking about it, and we thought we surely could do better than that. I got home, and since calving ease worked so well, stacking pedigrees for calving ease, Shelley and I decided that we would put together high marbling cattle and do the same breeding methodology with them. And so we did. Today we have the highest marbling EPD cattle in America. And we have very predictable cattle. So that's what we are looking for today, is producing cattle that will go out and do for our customers what these cattle do for us here.
Okay, thank you. And we'll be back after these messages from our sponsors.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide. Presented by Lucas Oil. Featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV. the all-new Better Horses Network.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning and welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm here with Ben Jansen, Dick's son. So you play a role here on the farm and you help a lot out with the crop side of things. Talk to me a little bit about what you do here.
Yeah, I moved back in 99, did college, worked at Microsoft for just a little tiny bit. But I basically came back just to do the farming part of what we do here. We farm about 1,500 acres of farm ground, about 500 acres, 600 acres of wheat every year, about 150 of sorghum, and then another 40 to 50 of corn that we chop for silage for the cattle for feed to run through our bull operation. Okay.
And so kind of that leads into my next question of how do the crops play into the cattle side of things?
Basically the wheat is primarily a cash crop. We don't really graze it, wheat or anything. We roll into the milo, and it is half cash crop. The other half of it we basically store, and we actually have our own pellets milled, our own stuff done at our local co-op. And then, of course, the silage, the corn for silage is for the bull feeding operation exclusively.
Okay. And so I know you and Elizabeth help a little bit with the breeding, and she helps breeding with the heifers, and you kind of do some things with the cows. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm tall, so I get the tall work, and she gets the short work because she's short. And yeah, she, I do basically AI all the cows, checking them twice a day and doing all that. She's the one that gets stuck doing all the heifers, which is the hard work.
Sure. And you're also very tech savvy and good with numbers, and so you kind of build some formulas and things. What does that look like?
Well, I do all the work. Liz does a little bit too, but we use a program from OSU called a calculator to calculate our feed rations for our cows, and I use another program from a different university to do our calculations for our feedlot program. And they're just, we do what everyone else does. You go get all your samples in, and you get your information back, and cram it into the program and see what you have to get where you want to be. So.
Sure. And then kind of beyond some of those specific laid out duties, what are some other things you help with around?
Oh, I am kind of the general maintenance engineer. If it's broken, I get to fix it. So we have several spring tanks. We actually maintain our own wells. We switched to solar wells in several of our pastures, and we've got it to the point where we're basically doing our own maintenance and repairs and pulling wells and fixing solar panels and stuff like that.
Thank you. And we'll be back after these messages.
I'm a patient of Kansas Regenerative Medicine in Manhattan. I had stem cell therapy in my hips and my left knee. My wife and I both are patients. We went down there the same day in November. Since then, my hips are feeling a lot better. I can work now most of the day if I want to. And before, if I worked in the morning, I was done in the afternoon, or if I worked in the afternoon, I was sure enough done for the rest of the day.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com. That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities, big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning and welcome back to That's My Farm. I'm here with Elizabeth Perkins, Dick and Shelly's youngest daughter, to talk a little bit about some of the genetics here. So take me along the journey of all the genetic testing and things you guys have done here.
Well, we started out late in the 90s, early in the 2000s with the Gene Star program. And we did profiles on all of our herd bulls and our best cows, what we thought were our best cows, and that actually helped us make some of our selections. And then from there, we progressed to the identity profile. And then when the American Angus Association transitioned to the Zoetis and the 50K and the 50KI, we went along with that transition. And now we are looking forward to moving on to the Angus-specific DNA testing that's going to be available through the association here in November of 2017. And to give us some more genetic selection tools. As my father touched on, we have done a lot of breeding like to like over the years. And that is what we have based our modern program on. And the DNA just gives us another layer to use to make our cattle selections and to provide our customers with what we believe they're going to need in the future and what they want right now.
So what are some other things that you're in charge of here on the farm?
Mostly I am in charge of the office and I do all of our advertising, both print and online. Other things are that I breed all the heifers. And I'm also in charge of our summer help, which since my brother was in junior high, we have had, I tend to call them the boys of summer. We've had a couple of girls here and there, but we usually have at least 2 to 6 guys in the junior high, high school, into college range that come out and they help. And we have had them do everything from pick musk thistle and cut down little cedar trees to learning how to build fence. They also help us work the cattle. Those are their favorite days. They definitely show up if I let them know we're doing cattle. In the last few years, if I don't tell them what's going on, they tend to be a little bit leery because they don't know what we're going to get into because we clean everything on the farm and all of that. And they also help us pull blood for our DNA. And they just have become a really integral part of some of the projects that we do. For the last probably 5 or 6 years, we have a dinner where we go ahead and we cook them steaks. And they get to see and taste what we really produce here. And that universally is their favorite day of the year.
Beyond your summer help, you have a full-time gentleman here that works. Tell me a little bit about that.
We have our full-time hired hand is Joel Bunch, and he started working here in 2015. And he has worked out really well. He has 5 kids, and they run the bull farm for us, where we have our grow safe system and feed out all of our bulls, and also where we have our kill pen, which is our animals not suitable for breeding, that we run through our local packing plant. And also we have, in the last couple of years, started sending a truckload down to National. And his kids have done a phenomenal job helping tame down all the animals. So they get used to people of all sizes and being as loud as children can possibly be. And they have a blast going and helping their dad with everything. We also have my husband that came in 2015 who does a lot of the day-to-day cattle stuff and keeps an eye on everything, and he tags all the animals on the place. And I will say that he keeps up with the calf tagging better than we have since his dad got out and did it, which is something that is pretty fun for him.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at KFRM.com or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
This is Eric Stonestreet, and as many of you know, I love my home state of Kansas. In March, Kansas ranchers lost homes, equipment, and thousands of cattle from the largest wildfires in the state's history. Imagine losing all you have in a fire. Not just your house, but your livelihood. Ranchers are beginning to rebuild, but it will take years and tens of millions of dollars to build back herds, fences, and other infrastructure. Today, I'm asking you to help. Donate what you can and show your support to the ranchers of Kansas. Simply go to kansasfires.com. Your donation is tax deductible and will go to those who need it the most.
That's My Farm is brought to you in part by Tallgrass Commodities. Big enough to serve, small enough to care.
Good morning and welcome back to That's My Farm. So to start off, Dick, you guys sell 100 of your best bulls the first Monday in April, and you're coming up on your 59th year. Talk to me a little bit about how you get your bulls ready for the sale and what you do to prepare them.
Things have really changed over time. Today we do a lot of technology, DNA, a lot of paperwork. We used to run bulls through the sale ring. Today we put them on a video and we sell them without disturbing the animals by running them through the sale ring. But before that, a lot of stuff has to go on, you know, weaning weights, yearling weights, scan scores, which is ultrasound, which we were invited in 1989 to join hands with Fort Hays State University and John Breathauer at that time. And we did the original scanning data to perfect his methodology. And we scanned cattle at weaning, yearling, and 18 months. A lot of times John would be here and we would work well into the night scanning cattle. That's part of it, where, of course, our weaning weights and yearling weights. In addition to that, today we do it DNA. So you have a complete DNA profile on the bulls, as well as ultrasound, EPDs, and all this is meshed into the kind of bulls that we are selling. We sell 100 of our best bulls the first Monday in April.
So Elizabeth mentioned earlier about the growth safe feed intake research, and that kind of goes along with your motto here at Green Garden Angus. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it's really very simple. We know that it doesn't cost any more to make a prime than it does a select. And with the growth safe system, it allows us to not only produce that product, but we can also produce it for the very least amount of money. And so we have a product that is very high in quality and very low cost. And that's the motto of this place.
So what are you and your wife Shelley doing to prepare Elizabeth and Ben for the future of Green Garden Angus?
Well, they're both very actively involved in what we do today. Ben's more or less, he is in charge of all the farming and also helps with the cattle operation. Elizabeth is in charge with the office work along with Shelley. And there's a lot of data that has to be collected and sent to the American Angus Association. So they're involved, and we have got a plan for them to take over. And actually they are taking over. I am officially retired. And that's why I have today off.
Thank you, and thank you guys for watching this program, and stay tuned next week to watch the next episode of That's My Farm.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.